What's up, fight fans? Damn, I had the mad echo popping off there. What's up, fight fans? We are back at it with another edition here at Round One Sports TV. I am always your host, Edwin. Where the war fights start. Round one. Gotta fix that screen there for a minute. We have an amazing show for you here today. Let's talk about this amazing card, July 12th. It's been all over social media, New York City, Queens. I'm going to be in attendance. I got to know what you guys think leading up into this fight. Has your mind changed? Do you still feel the same way about all the fights? And I'm in there, tested positive and got a ban for 2 years. Um he tested positive for several PEs off, I guess. So yeah, more fighters getting busted here, you know? So we'll be talking about a lot of things about this fight card. I want to know what you guys think. I want to know if you feel the same way. The odds seem to be fluctuating as we get closer to the fight. So lock in, stay tuned. We're going to be talking about Hamzah Sheeraz versus Edgar Berlanga. We're going to be talking about Shakur Steven versus William Cepeda, Subriel Matias versus Alberto Puello. I need to know, do you guys still feel the same way? Let's go. Well, do you guys feel the same way? Or are you still flip flopping like most of us are? Every day I go on, I go watch Hamzah Sheeraz's highlights, and I'm just sitting there going, fuck, right? Same thing I do with Alberto Puello. I look at Alberto Puello's shot selection, his punches, and I'm just like, fuck, right? For Subriel, I'm like, ugh, this is gonna be a tough fight for my man Subriel. We're gonna break that down, and that's why I'm doing this video, because I gotta know. Because it seems like every day since this fight has been announced, and as we're getting closer, everybody is changing their mind. I see it all over social media. One guy got Hamzah one day and he's passionate about it. Then 3 days later, he's like, well, Edgar's power. Well, Edgar looked like he was, yo, and it gets crazy. So, what? Put some money on the what? I'm not sure about that. Listen, uh, I gotta, I gotta, I gotta admit, I'm flip flopping here. Yeah, the more I just think, look, man, that Carlos Adames shit with Hamza Sheeraz, right? After a fighter has a kind of performance like that, yo, all the excuses come out of the woodworks, don't they? Nah, I broke my hand in the second round. I did this, I did that, ba ba ba. Well, in the sport of fighting, we as fighters, we know that these things can happen. No, we don't go into a fight thinking about it, but when it happens, you must develop that warrior mindset where that you need to develop a way to win. I seen a dude literally pop his shoulder out of socket, right? And fight the rest of the fight with one arm and win the fight. Okay, he found the way to win. There was no quit in that man. Okay. Tim Tszyu had a gash the size of like 3 inches. It was like this on his forehead. He didn't want a way out. He was trying to find a way to win. He lost, but he was in the fight. You're never out of the fight. Understand? So Hamza Sheeraz was in a situation he's probably never been in against Carlos Adames, right? So he made excuses. He made a coach change. He's with Andy Lee now. And Let's talk about Hamzah here, right? He has a record of 21-17 with that draw with Adamas there, right? Okay. He's 26 years old. He's 6'3". He has a 75-inch arm reach, right? Okay. Now, arguably, a lot of people are questioning his level of competition, right? The one thing I cannot question is that all the men that he fought on the beginning of their job description, it said professional boxer. That's what it says on the guys that he beat. Now, the level of his opponents by our standards of definition. By the way, what's your measuring stick? Who are you measuring all of Hamzah's guys to? To who? To the top 10? To the top 15 guys? Well, then that would be your measuring stick then, wouldn't it? Are those guys better than those guys? So that's how we break it down. You see? So, but as in fairness, the guys he beat were all professional boxers. In fairness, we all have the ability to get better. We have these fights where we learn things, we mature as fighters, and we go on. There have been many fighters that have taken losses early in their career. Bernard Hopkins. Didn't he lose like his first fight? Right? It was a tough one too. Who did he lose? Did he lose to Roy Jones? Right? Real early. And then he came back and fought him, right? Ain't that the way it went? But look at the kind of career he had. That's my point. That you could take a loss early in your career and bounce back and become a legend. You see? So it's how these guys bounce back. So just like I wasn't ready to just write Devin Haney off with that performance against Jose, I'm not ready to write off Hamzah. The only thing that I can admit that Hamzah is, he's a little green still. He looks good against those guys because those guys are not better than him. And when you're comfortable and you're just doing everything you were taught to do and you're flowing, the fight's going to be easy for you. But what happens when you got brute force and someone not backing down from your shots? Someone that can take your punches. I don't have any information or data that Hamzah has ever been in this weight division. As a matter of fact, let me look this up. Hold on, before I pre-speak. Don't like to pre-speak, and then somebody says, no, he fought in this one time, and it'd be that one fight. So let's look it up. The highest so far I've seen him fight is 159. That's it. It is his entire career. You know how some guys start the game, sometimes they get their first fight real heavy, and then they go down, they get serious. They got them 1-2 fights in some heavy division they never belonged in. Well, Hamzah's been in 159, 150, 154 his entire career. Okay? Right? Now his opponent, Edgar Berlanga? No. Edgar Berlanga has a record of 23 fights with 18 big ways by knockout. 16 of those knockouts were in the first round. 16. So just like Hamzah fought his level of competition early in his career, so didn't Berlanga. Berlanga, what he did with his competition, 16 straight knockouts. I don't care if you don't know the guys that Edgar Berlanga fought, like they're not household names or whatever, but I do believe at the beginning of their job description, it says what? Professional boxer. That means that any given night, these guys that you don't consider they can do fucking some Bruno shit to you and knock out Jaime Munguia. They could do that to Edgar Berlanga. Every man you step in that ring with, you must respect him. because he's sharing the square circle with you. He's been trained. He had a training camp. Ain't he here trying to change his stars too? It's not like he's getting in there and just, oh, let me knock him out. Edgar Berlanga went in there and knocked out 16 grown-ass men in a row. In a row. Now, party life, a little bit hanging around with Fat Joe and the Terror Squad, maybe a little too much. And we saw it. We saw it play out in his performances. Maybe he wasn't a little bit less dedicated to the sport, more to the bling bling, if you know what I mean. You know what I'm saying? But it looks like he got a new invigoration and a new appreciation for the sport. I think the young man, Edgar Berlanga, realized, hold up, what the fuck bought me this bling bling? What bought me that house? What got me that car? That I was able to pull that kind of girl. And if you don't realize what got you there, you're soon going to lose it. Edgar Berlanga got a new focus. The only problem was at the time that he was getting serious, his very next opponent was Saul Canelo Alvarez. That's it. But that did something for the young man, Edgar Berlanga, right? Besides partying for like a month after the loss, which many of us felt he didn't win. He won maybe one round. I gave him one, right? And he partied, and a lot of people took that and like they like, wow, this dude is crazy. He's partying over loss. They didn't realize how happy we were as a country, Puerto Ricans. They didn't realize the magnitude between the rivalry between Puerto Rico and Mexico. And if you weren't Mexican or Puerto Rican, maybe you might not understand us. Because as Puerto Ricans, if you do a lot for the sport, for us, we show you love even in a defeat. We don't shun our fighters away because they lost. Edgar Berlanga came off that loss with his head down and walked right into a parade. You know what I'm saying? Even though the parade wasn't basically for him or whatever, but they embraced him. You know what I mean? And then it went from there, and they just kept showing him the love. They kept showing Edgar Berlanga, yo, bro, even though you lost, we still got your back. And we gonna party like you won. Just to show you we rocking with you. What if we did that for our athletes? What happened? What's gonna happen when Terrence Crawford falls to Saul? Are any of you American fans gonna come out for him to congratulate him for giving it an effort? Or are you gonna allow Terrence Crawford to just go wither right into his house, like, and then all the memes and you know what I mean? That's what you guys give to your champion. That's what you guys. That's how you show your favorite fighter for all the years he gave you. That's what you guys are prepared to do. I'm here to teach you that other countries, other nations, we don't do that. We don't do that. What we do is we still show our fighter love, and that's all we did with Edgar Berlanga. We heard all the noise. Yo, this dude is crazy. Why is he partying like this? Why is he doing? We heard it. We didn't care, bro. We like, yo, Edgar, we still love you, bro. You did good. You might have not won any of the rounds, but you didn't get knocked out, son. You didn't get, because Saul was looking for that knockout, bro. He wanted to embarrass Puerto Rico. You know, we taking shots at Mexican dudes. Yo, we had a Mexican Puerto Rican card not too long ago. We wiped them down, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's competition. I fucking love them. I love Mexican fighters, bro. Fucking love them, bro. I need Mexican fighters in the sport. Salute to Mexico, bro. Que viva Mexico. Fucking, bro, them dudes is awesome, man. And there's nothing like it. When I see Mexico, Puerto Rico, I need them dudes, bro. I respect my rivals. Yo, hats off to you dudes, bro. Because if it wasn't for y'all dudes to fucking wake my guys up, get out here and kick their ass. Maybe they'll fucking wake up and do something. Let's go, Puerto Rico. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I'll be on some competitive shit. But always respect. Always respect, bro. Because we grown ass men. Like when this mic turn off, you see me in the street, you're gonna run into the real Edwin. You know, this right here is just my passion. This is my passion for the sport. I speak about it. I always do it like I got some sense with a smile, of course. Bam. You know, when you do things in life, you go to work, you go to there with you got some sense, right? You don't got that crazy, right? So that's how I view these fighters. Like, I appreciate them. I appreciate, you know, all countries, nations, fighters. And I always ask myself that one question, man. I always, what's the best fighter in the world look like? Who is he? Where does he come from? Go. I need to see it. And I'm always studying movement, try to shorten the distance. Street fighting and boxing, two different ball games, baby. Way too. You see those boxers try to street fight and shit. Sometimes it doesn't work out too good for them, and sometimes they're just way better than the street fighter, right? But when you get a real good street fighter, that can tell that dude, he's got rules in his head. He's not gonna kick you. He ain't gonna scoop you. So that's what you do to him. You know what I mean? But real life situations, real life, it's way different than boxing, bro. And there's not a lot of people that are trained. And if you are slightly trained, or some things can save your life. Yes, they can. It's good to stay in shape. It's good to practice moves. It is. You want your body and your mind to be on the same page. You don't want to find out like I did, right? One day something pops off, and you've probably been a decent fighter your whole life or so, right? I consider myself a pretty decent fighter. And I got out the car, and homeboy took a sloppy shot, and I took a sloppy block. And my block was sloppy. Like, I knew what I was supposed to do in my head. My arm just didn't do it because it hasn't been trained to do it. So when I threw my punch, it felt like somebody was grabbing the back of my arm and holding my arm like that while I was punching. I had to like question myself. And I realized in that moment reality was much different. What I thought up here didn't match down here. So little by little, like, now I work out, and that's what I'm gonna do. I'm getting back there. Okay. I'm not, bad far off. I can move still, but I need to work on what I'm thinking, how I look, how you know what I'm saying? And that's why it's real good to practice these things and drills. And that's why I respect these boxers, because I know what it takes to do that. You might be sitting at home watching a fight and be like, oh shit, blah, 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 right? And you're just like, yeah, he beat him. And I'm looking at it like, I'm viewing it as a dance. Like if they're doing the waltz, you step here, he steps here. It's like at a high level, real fighting, it's like that. It's just like, you come out, you throw the jab this way. If he steps this way, I move this way. For every move he makes, there's a counter move to his move. There's a counter move to your moves. I hope he knows them. As you're going into the fight, your mindset must be, you are here to assist me on whooping your ass. That's all you're here for. I'm going to whoop your ass, but you're going to assist me on doing it. I'm going to lead you into a shot. Okay? Now there are shots that you throw in the beginning of the fight, and they're distraction shots, so to speak. You know what I mean? What you want to do is just 2 to the high guard. Boom, bam, step in, step, boom, bam, right? None of those punches was the one you were looking for. Those were the ones so that either you can get him to do two things. Either he's going to block like this or he's going to try to go back. Right? Okay. If he ducks, if he does the third duck, well then, you know, he might not know what he's doing real, and you're going to be able to capitalize early, real early. So if he does that, then the one you were looking for, whereas the distraction ones, block, 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 hand up, this is where you were, your punch, that's where you were looking your shot. You're going to come around, step around the side and hit him. Boom. Knock the wind out of him. You know, I'm not going to tell you to do another dirty move or whatever, but I would need, if he felt, probably knee him to the face, but we're talking boxing. So you hit him to the side, and then you whatever you see, you know, different people do different things, but whatever you see, if you see him cringe, if he folds, you know, react on that like that. But that's the art of fighting, setting punches up. But at real boxing, they're like that's how Puello fights. Alberto Puello fights like that. Alberto Puello, bro, he's taking down information. He's not a stupid fighter, bro. He can tell if you're pointing your elbows too far forward. Like when I was hitting the bag on my video, I don't know if y'all seen it. Notice I got my elbows pointed forward. That comes from boxing in the amateurs, like that. Because the coach is always telling you, keep your hands up, like that. And then you later develop, you start to notice, and you get better training. And you now you put your elbow in your hip like a pro. And then if you have to block, just bend your knees and it lifts your arm up. Rather than you physically lifting your arm up, keep it in your thing like that and just bend your knees. It blocks. And now you're blocking both the body and the face, like that. So, and then you start to learn things like that as the level you go. Then I remember the first time boxing was revealed to me. Like when I went into, like, as a kid fighting, I would just think about going forward, like Rock'em Sock'em Robots, or I had a lot of anger. I just wanted to hit him, you know, boom, boom, like as hard as I could. And for years, I fought like that, fought like that. Then you get to the point where you're fighting and you start to understand, and that's when boxing really reveals itself, that all this extra shit I was doing and rushing, and you cut all that out of your fight. You be a little bit more patient. The punch can come right here to your face. You understand distance. You understand that jab he was going to throw was going to be a lazy jab or a distracting jab. You stay there and you snap that check hook, baby. Yo, it became easier. The windows, you see them different. You see fighting completely different. Completely different. Little effort, little movement, big results. And I mean big results. Yo, I used to cock back and hit dudes or sucker punch dudes and not get the results I do when I was set right in good position, using my torque, everything. I punch good both ways. I punch good off my foot with a snap, and I could also drop my weight and hit like this and knock out. I hit good both, but I still try to master technique. I still believe highly in that. I'm a firm believer that you can become a better puncher. You know, I wasn't always a big puncher. My brother was a knockout artist, but me, I wasn't. I ripped a lot of things. Like I broke a lot of noses, knocked out a lot of teeth. Yes. I fractured a lot of cheekbones. Yes. But knock people out cold like my brother. Nah, nah. I later, yes. When I got older, yes, I got better at it. Yeah. But not when I was like fucking 17, 18, shit like that. Nah, I was never an efficient puncher. And then I learned how to be a more efficient puncher. And that's why I'm a firm believer in it. Because I was never a big puncher like that. I hurt. Like they used to say, damn, when you hit people, you rip their face open and shit. Like that was common with me. Yeah, I did that a lot. A lot, a lot, a lot. Like a good 74, 75. If I had to guess, I always ripped somebody's face, right? The chin, the nose, this, or under your eye. That was common in my fights. Mad common. But knocking them out, nah, nah, nah. Not until later. And that's why I'm a firm believer in that, in technique. Because I think I became a more efficient puncher as I got older and I understood more about it, and you don't have to just cock back like that, man. Nah, it's focused pressure. Learn. We used to run these drills, right? You take sets of tires, you put them on top of each other, punch a tire off another tire, and keep going down, bang, 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 and then put them back on, and then bang, 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 right? Um, it gave you a lot of things because flesh in the bag, the punching bag, are different. You know what I mean? Where that you could sit down more on your punches on a punching bag. It's good to train like that because it gives you punch resistance. The punching bag. It shows you, yo, I can punch hard, and you got the confidence mentally that your wrist is not gonna snap back or that your hand is strong enough. With every day that you punch the bag, your hand becomes more callous. Well, you can see right now, my hands are like, um, um, they fucking, how would I describe them? You know, uh, they don't got no work on them. They don't got no work. Like you ever see a guy that works with a rake or something and a farmer, you could tell he's a farmer. Let me see your hand. You see all the calluses. If he claims to be something, look at his hands. He's a working man. There's no calluses. I haven't been in the gym in a long time. I gotta get in there and hit that freaking bag, bro. Get these hands back. You gotta get your hands back. Boom, boom. I used to punch walls, not hard. Well, yeah, yeah, well, but I do combinations on the walls, on the brick walls in the projects. You and you step back, like that, and then this shit all gets flat after a while. I did that for months and months and months. Yeah. I used to think that if I did that, it would get my hands hard and play handball a lot. Handball, yo, my hands was so fucking hard, man. I think if I smacked somebody, I probably ripped their face at one point and shit. But that's just mad different training regiments and methods that different fighters from around the world. Imagine what these guys do around the world. Like, what the fuck are they doing out there? Like, you know what I mean? And I'll be thinking of that shit. Like, what's up, Hector? Koki, how you doing? Jimmy, what's up? The boxing outcome, how you doing? Thanks, man. Thanks. I'm glad you're enjoying the show. Sometimes I get wrapped up. I'll be talking about shit I did or whatever, but or anything. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just life, right? We can all learn from each other, right? You know what I mean? Um, uh, I just watching a lot of these fighters, and the shows about Super Matias and Alberto Puello and Edgar Berlanga and Hamzah, right? And I think it could be a really tough night for both men. I think what's going to play the factor here is I think that if Edgar Berlanga can at least catch up to Hamza, hit him with some good shots, even if it don't have to be clean, even on the arms, forearms, and lay on him, weigh on him against the ropes. Hamza's not used to this weight. He can drag Hamzah out into deep water. Edgar Berlanga went 12 rounds with Saul, no problem. You know what I'm saying? He did it. So with that kind of pressure and that kind of monster on him, relentless. So he showed that he can do that. Hamzah not being, I saw him at the weigh-in. He still looks skinny as fuck. You know, he might be taller, but Edgar Berlanga even looked that much better, skinnier for this fight. It's not like he's gonna do that Saul Canelo Alvarez 200-pound thing. I don't think so. I think he knows he has to be quick to fight Hamzah because Hamzah's gonna try to. I think what Hamzah's approach in this fight, in particular, he's gonna try to outpoint or break Berlanga down, and also drag Berlanga out to deep water with rounds of accumulation damage. He's thinking he could stop Edgar, and that's a version of this tale that could happen. That potentially could happen. So uh I just need Edgar Berlanga to be strong today. I mean Saturday, whenever, whatever, on July 12th. I need him to be strong, bro. I need him to uh block slip shots, parry shots, and when he makes Hamzah miss, make him pay. Edgar can't just take into the satisfaction that he's slipping shots or blocking shots down, but not doing anything and expecting Hamzah just to fatigue himself out. I think Edgar, in between these rounds, what you want to do before you go back to your corner, feel like you did enough to win that round. As the round's going by time you turn around, go back to your corner, you feel like you did enough to win those rounds. Edgar Berlanga can't let rounds just slip away, you know, and he can be patient in the fight. I think that the fight might go 12 rounds actually. The Hamzah and the Sheeraz fight with Edgar Berlanga, I think it might just go 12 rounds. Um Both guys got the potential of stopping each other. I think Hamzah in his own right has his own power. Edgar Berlanga has his own power. What a lot of guys is banking on that Hamzah is gonna fold to Edgar's power and pressure. And the other side of the street is saying they think that Edgar Berlanga is outboxed, outmatched, that he's not a efficient boxer enough for the likes of a fighter like Sheeraz. So, look, I'm going to rock with the Puerto Rican on this one. Hamzah, no disrespect. If you win, may the best man win. I wish one day I can interview you here. I'm a fan of you and Edgar Berlanga. I'm a fan of all boxers. I would always love to know what you think in the fight or, after the fight, whether in a win or a loss. And same thing goes for Edgar Berlanga. Um, there's a lot riding on this fight. There's a lot. Unfortunately, right, if Sheeraz wins, right, Hamzah, if he wins, according to Turkey Al Sheikh, he's going to be awarded a Saul Canelo Alvarez fight. I don't know how. Uh, did he already get by Terrence Crawford? Did the Canelo do that already? I mean, he's out of his mind, right? But if Edgar Berlanga wins, I don't think he'll get a Canelo fight. Unfortunately, because Canelo already fought him. He's not going to pick him again. I don't know. And unless he becomes his mandatory in one of those, I just don't see him fighting Edgar again so fast. 2 fights. That'll be the 3rd fight, though. It's not that fast. Well, on average, if our guys were doing the right thing, fighting 3 times a year at least, then it would be fast. But these dudes is fighting twice a year now, one time a year. On some bullshit. Giving us these trashy ass fights. Tank fighting Lamont for the 2025 year. What he's gonna fight Lamont twice, and then in the 2025. That's it. That's all you're doing. Ryan Garcia, you're gonna fight one time. Devin, you're gonna fight one time. Terrence Crawford, you're gonna fight one time a year. What? And then they got the nerve to say that why do you guys think Naoya Inoue should be put in front of us pound for pound? Motherfucker, because he's fighting 4 times a year. 4 times a year. And he's putting 4 belts 4 times. Just on that alone, he should be on the best. There shouldn't even be no argument. Had he been a bigger guy, right, there would be no argument. Because no one's doing Naoya Inoue shit in boxing today. No one. Name me one guy that's fighting for all 4 belts and defended them. Saul Canelo Alvarez just got his 4 belts back with the Skull fight. He hasn't defended them yet. About to do it against Terrence Crawford. One time a year. One time. This dude is doing it 4 times a year, bro. It's not even close. It's not even close. These dudes, because the more Saul Canelo Alvarez goes out there and puts all 4 belts on the line, the more risk he takes of it all being taken away from him. If he fights one time a year and rides out the remaining of bro, you shook. You don't believe you're that kind of champion. This Japanese dude, he's like, I want all the smoke. All of it. Give me the best you got. And whoever's in the witness protection program, you know what I'm saying? Bail him out. Like, he's asking to fight everyone. Anyone in left, north to the equator. Yo, Naoya Inoue got beef everywhere. You got Junto Nagatoni at the 118 want to fight him. You got Nick Ball at 126 screaming his name. Everybody want to fight that dude. And he's wiping everybody out. Out. Bro, that dude is the clear as day, the best fighter in the world. That Japanese dude. It's not even close. It's not even close. Terrence Crawford has fought one time, basically. I mean, in 2024, he fought twice, right? And I know that, right? But on average, for the last 6 years, one time a year, bro. And it seems like Tank Davis is falling in that category. Now Devin Haney's falling in that category. Jaron Boots Ennis is about to fall in that category. What, he fought twice? That's it. These dudes are not active. That's why I think Turkey's trying to schedule a lot of these fights early to keep these guys in training camp, to keep them busy, to keep their names irrelevant. You know, he don't want them just after a fight just start partying. Turkey's like, nah, get back in the gym. Get back in the gym. See, because boxing doesn't have a season. You know how the NBA season, the NBA stars, when the season's starting, they all get in shape. And you see them all fat in the beginning of the season. And as the season starts to go along, they get better in shape. And then you're seeing the best of the best at the end. That's a season. Boxing doesn't have that. Boxing, after he finishes that fight, that guy is going to go out. You got to keep him engaged. That's why they made Mike Tyson, young Mike Tyson fought, I think he fought 26 times in like 18 months. I think it was like 26, 23. I got to go back and check it out. Mike Tyson was basically fighting every 30 days. Every 30 days when he started his career, Mike Tyson. Let me look it up. Hold up. I'll look it up. I'll give you real facts. Real facts. I'm going to put it up on the screen. We could all look at it. This is how the guys used to fight. Now, when they say, oh, fighting 2 times a year, 3, bullshit. We can't get these fights going. Bullshit. A lot of this shit has to do with the fighter. Him not wanting to train again or go through another training camp. Cut weight and shit. And the good thing with heavyweights, Mike never cut weight. He don't know that life. Mike don't know that life. All right, here's Mike Tyson, right? I'm gonna pull Mike Tyson. Let's see. Oh, hold on. We're gonna look at this together. I want you guys to see this. Okay, share. Yeah, I'll do that. Boom. All right. I want it to be on a better screen like that, like that, like that. Okay, cool. Now let's get this ad out. Okay, so here's Mike Tyson. He ended his career 50 professional fights, 44 knockouts, 7 losses. He's been stopped 5 times. That's what hurts his career. When you got a legend and you are a legend, the legends must understand they need to protect their legacy. These fights right here and these 5 knockouts, that was cocaine induced Mike Tyson, smoking weed, drinking alcohol, and banging escorts all night before a fight. He wasn't really caring about life. But when Mike was Mike, the legend that is Mike Tyson, listen, look at this man, right? Check it out, right? He starts his career in 1985, right? Okay. Uh, so what's this? June 3rd? June 3rd, right? He's back in the ring, his next fight, right? Same year, 10-4. Same year, 523. Oh, so that was the next month. Okay. So look at how they had Mike. Look how they had Mike Tyson. 3-6. The next month, 410. That's a month. 523. The next month, 620. Look at this shit. Look how they have Mike Tyson was a pit bull. Look at him. Look, 7-11. Bro, the man fought already in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He in the same month, just a couple days later, 8 days later. He's a savage. Yo, look at this. Yo, they had to keep Mike active because Cuss knew that the street life and the women and all that shit would take his fighter away. He always said it. If Mike stays focused and stays the course, he'll probably go down as one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. Cuss knew it, bro. He knew it. But he ended up dying, bro. You know what I'm saying? He ended up dying, man. Look at this dude, bro. His record is ridiculous, bro. And then the next month he fought. And then the next month he fought. And then the next month he fought. And then that month he still fought in the same month. Look, 10-9, 10-25. Yo, we're still in 85. 85, 85, 85, 85, 85. Okay, so just in 1 year, in 1985, from when Mike Tyson started his career, in 1 year, he fought 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Jesus Christ! He fought more times than you got months. There's only 12 months in a year. Even if you fought he fought 14 times in 1 year. These fucking guys nowadays are fucking divas, bro. Yo, You guys are divas, bro. The real fighters right there, bro. Real God mother. Oh, you guys are. Talk about I can only fight one time a year, 2 times a year, 3, but you want our money. You want our pay-per-view. Huh? But you ain't giving us that work. Don't look. Proof. If you really wanted to get in the ring, you could get in the ring. Even stay busy fights. You know, like, we can't have you go out there fighting the best. Bro, your career's not going to last. So you need these little bullshit fights in between before we get that next banger. So why you ain't doing the bullshit fights? Why don't you get 1 great fight, 2 mediocre one, and end the year with a banger? 4 fights a year. That's all we're asking. As a professional in your sport, Mike Tyson was fighting twice a month. Don't give me that shit. Man, these dudes is... And then they wonder why our American dudes is more bling bling than work. And they all over me. Ellen, why are you supporting the Japanese dude? No, brother. First of all, when you talk about Naoya Inoue, say his fucking name first. Don't name him as his country. Because first of all, we're not playing that shit. We're not playing race, creed, gender. We ain't playing any of that shit. Is he a man? Does he bleed? That's what I'm judging him on. What did I say at my show? When I ask myself this question, I ask myself, where does the greatest fighter in the world come from? What does he look like? And it happens to be this 5'5" dude that's doing it better than anyone in the game. They just don't want to give him credit because he's 122 pounds. I get it. You know that small man, big man complex where a big man looks at a little guy and goes, I just can't because we're just big. Fucking hypocrite motherfuckers. Like what? Like, no, man. Nah, if you're him, you're him. That's it, bro. That's it, man. I'm tired of this shit where they're like, oh, if you're not in the 147 glamorous division, which is the best division in all of boxing, don't feed me that shit. Well said from someone that wants to discredit another person's body of work. How do you do that? Diminish what he's doing. Say that it's easy. Say he's fighting no one. Don't give me that. Because you can go down every one of these boxers' records and all their legends, and it's a bunch of controversy, ain't it? Ain't it? What fighter, what Superman fighter are you comparing everyone else to? What guy has walked into the fucking ring and just knocked everybody out, took all the belts? Wake up, people. There's nobody like that. If you're judging them on a human standard, that's the best to do it. That Japanese dude is doing it the best, hands down. For the past 3 years in a row, after we came out of that COVID, my man's been fighting 4 times a year. Grabbing all the belts, securing them, all 4 belts in 6 months, 8 belts in 1 year. 1 calendar year, he got 8 belts. 8 belts, bro, in 1 year. Come on, bro. That's fucking ridiculous. Usyk didn't do that. Terrence didn't do that. Neither did Floyd. Matter of fact, no boxer in history done it. How about that? But they still, nah, he's not him. What? What's he coming off? He's like his 12th consecutive knockout. Naoya Inoue, his 12th consecutive knockout in a row. His 25th world title fight in a row. And his last 11 fights were for 2 belts or more. His last 11. Meaning he didn't fight for 1 belt. It was either 2 belts, 3 belts, or 4 belts. His last 11 fights. His stats are crazy. They're video game stats. That's the kind of shit you'll do on your fucking Xbox or PlayStation. His Naoya Inoue's real life stats. Check it out. Check it out. I'm gonna play a game with you. Right? If I had Errol Spence Jr., right? And I wanted to explain to you what a dominant champion is, right? And I want you to tell me if you feel like what the accolades I put on Errol Spence Jr., if he's going to make it to the Hall of Fame. Because the argument is with the 3 belts that he has in the one division, some people say he's going, some people say he's not, right? Okay. All right. So let's switch it up a little. Same guy, same name. Okay? All right. Errol Spence Jr. has 30 fights, 27 knockouts, no losses. He got all 4 belts in 2 separate weight divisions. He's a 4-division world champion. Out of 16 world champions that he's faced, he's knocked out 13 of them. Out of 15 champions he's faced in his career, out of the 30 fights, he fought 15 world champions. He's knocked out 13 of them. He's coming on a 12-fight knockout streak, and entering his next fight will be 25 world title fights in a row. That's Errol Spence Jr.'s record. Does he walk into the Hall of Fame with that? Would he walk in the Hall of Fame with that? Would you consider Errol Spence Jr. with that kind of record probably one of the greatest fighters that ever lived? With those kind of accolades. Remember everything I just said. That would probably be the greatest fighter of all time. Well, you know what the answer is? That's Naoya Inoue's record. That's actually what he's doing. That's his real record. The only thing is, his name's not Errol Spence Jr. His name is Naoya Inoue. If you gave Naoya Inoue's record to Terrence Crawford, Floyd Mayweather couldn't say shit. Now, could he? No. Give it to Tank. Give it to Devin. You guys would swear up and down that is the greatest fighter in the history of boxing. And you wouldn't be wrong. And you're not wrong now, because he is. He really is. It's just that his weight division, it's the weight division that most fighters are going to say, unless you did it at 130, 135, 140, 147, 154, 160 at one time was a really good weight division with the big guys, Marvelous Hagler, the Marvelous ones, all those kind of guys were like the bigger guys and shit. Like Floyd tried to move up there and try to go to 157 with the Miguel Cottos of the world, and Manny Pacquiao moved up there and shit. And those are where the big boys were. And middleweight crown to try to be the 160 at one point in era, there was too much talent there. Way too at one time. So the belts kept flip-flopping, because one guy would knock off one guy and etc. Boom. What's up, Bang Bang? Oh, you're talking about Iman there? Is that who you're talking about, Bang Bang? That he tested positive? I think the fight of the night I'm banking on right now in that fight card, that July fight card, I'm banking on that Matias is going to be the best fight of that card. Yeah. Shakur Stevenson is a stubborn fighter. He's a stubborn fighter. You saw it in his last fight when he was arguing with his grandfather, right? His grandfather probably trained him since birth. That's probably the only dad he knows right there is that man. And for him to argue with him, um, he's there's a point where something's wrong with Shakur up here, and he's trying to now control the wheel, and he feels like he doesn't do have to do unnecessary risk. He feels like uh for some reason, if he's winning the fight, he doesn't have to do much more. As long as he knows he's winning, he's gonna walk out of the like that. Kind of like what Saul is doing, but Saul is doing that now in his career, late in his career. Saul was a showman at the majority of it in the bulk in the height of his career when he needed to be. Saul was a showman. He was knocking dudes out and shit, and he punched hard, and um, so he gave the fans something. So Shakur needs to do that. Um, I'm rocking with Shakur in the fight, but I got Shakur by decision with against William Cepeda. That's my real prediction. I got Shakur winning unanimous decision against Cepeda. I got Hamzah and Edgar Berlanga. Um, Something tells me if Edgar got a chance to stop him, it's going to be early. If not, it's going to be 9, 10, 11, 12, right around there. Uh, if he has a chance to stop him. If not, the fight goes to decision. I got Edgar Berlanga decision in that fight. I want to really go with the knockout and believe in Edgar's power. I just don't think Hamza. I think he's going to be a little fast. I think that Edgar's going to get his moments and have his moments in the fight. It's going to be a well contested fight, but I think Edgar's going to have to box more. We're going to see the best version of Edgar boxing in this fight. I think Edgar realizes that, and I think that that's what it's going to be. Edgar, although he could blitz him, bank on his power, see if he could catch up to his chin. I see a scenario where that happens, yes. But for me, the fight of the night, the fight of the night is going to be Subriel Matias versus Alberto Puello. And I'm banking on it. I think that those are two explosive fighters. They have their own, both unique style of fighting. Puello is uh, a more slicker boxer in his own right. He puts his punches together well. He's very accurate and he works his jab. Uh, Alberto Puello is very intelligent in the ring. He's very intelligent, and I think his ring IQ is highly underestimated. I think it is. I don't think a lot of people really talk about his ring IQ. I think that they're so caught up in the way that he looks, but not exactly what he's doing. There's a difference. Why is he doing that? You see, it's his ring IQ. He's not throwing things away, he's setting things up. You better believe it. That's how he fights. I've studied Alberto Puello, man. I studied him. And he's setting shit up for later rounds too. The one fight that I saw him fall apart in was the Sandor Martin fight. That's the only fight I saw Alberto Puello fall apart, and he shouldn't have won that fight. Sandor Martin gave him the fight back. He's not a closer. Because if any night, any man could have beat a virgin of Alberto Puello, it was on that night. When he fought Gary Antoine Russell, to all the people that think that Gary Antoine Russell won that fight against Alberto Puello, if you have a friend like that and you talk to him and he says, yo, I think Gary Antoine Russell won that fight, my best advice, don't be friends with him no more. Walk away. Because you can't allow those kind of buffoonery statements because Gary Antoine Russell got wiped down. That's just a guy that was a Gary Antoine Russell fan or going for him, he was just hyper focused on Gary Antoine Russell. He wasn't seeing the ass whooping that Puello was putting on him. He was just cheering his fighter, so he saw a much different fight. I get it. I get it. But I dare you, go back and watch that fight. Just breathe. Watch the fight. You're going to see a boxing clinic. Alberto Puello put a boxing clinic on Gary Antoine Russell. Gary Antoine Russell was so lost in that ring, he couldn't make adjustments. He kept doing the same thing. He kept trying to push that same sequence. It wasn't working. That shit was not working, and he could not get out of it. He made no adjustments in that fight. You know, he made somewhere that all he did was increase his pressure of his intensity. That's all he did. It was the same style. He just, he was just like willing it, and then sometimes Alberto would piece him up and tame him. And then it would come out a little slower, but the same shit. Whenever he wanted to get a little success, which he did have in the fight, he just did the same shit, but with more aggression. That's not making adjustments. That's just pushing the plan that's not working. He needed to recognize that. And Alberto Puello was smart, bro. He was smart in that fight. He was calm, he was calculated, and he worked with what Gary was giving him. And he worked around Gary's guard and broke through it effortlessly. Like Gary was blocking some shots, but when it came to penetrate his defense, Alberto Puello had no problem fighting the target. No problem. He beat the brakes off of him. Yeah, people like, I saw the fight, 7, I was like, bro, like, you guys just love Gary Antoine Russell. You love the family. I love it. I love his dad. Like, they family as a boxing family, what they mean to boxing, they're great for boxing, bro. And I can relate to their story. You know what I'm saying? But when I take my heart out of the equation, and the fact that Gary was an American fighter, and that's my guy, and I'm like, fuck, man, like, I always want to support my guys, but the truth is the truth, and I feel like the faster you tell the truth, we heal, we get over it. Like, yep, he beat him. That's it. All right, now Gary Antoine Russell, what is he now? WBA world champion. All right, then. You know what I'm saying? We moved on. You know what I'm saying? He's doing big things for us, bringing belts home right now. You know what I mean? That's right. You know what I mean? It might be a potential rematch for him when he gets his ass whooped by Matias and Alberto Puello loses his belt. Maybe he can rematch Gary Antoine Russell for that WBA, because he ain't going to have no belt, damn it. I'm taking shots. Shots fired. Yeah. Gotta start the shit talking. Come on, you know what I'm saying? Because, I'm talking to my biggest fan. You know what I mean? So if I'm talking to my biggest fan, I'm going to shit talk. Here, let me talk to my biggest fan. So, yo, listen, you know it. You know Alberto Puello getting his ass cracked. He getting knocked the fuck out. All right? Run that belt. You know what I mean? That's my biggest fan. Anyway, listen. It's just a tough fight, but I definitely think that it is definitely one to watch. I'm gonna be there in attendance. Hopefully, I meet a lot of you guys there, stock chasers. I gotta call stock chasers today and shit. Bang Bang's gonna be there in the building. I'm not sure if Bang Bang's gonna show up now. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just have a feeling like I'm gonna call him here. I'm gonna be like, Bang. He'll be like, I'm at home watching the fight on TV. Like, this dude is like a mysterious guy. You know what I'm saying? Nah, but I expect to see a lot of you guys there in the fight. I didn't get credentials for this fight, so I'm going as a fan. So I'm doing the midnight dash, going in and out, and not unless what I want to see what Stock Chases is doing. Amanda Serrano is also in town. The ladies card. Um, there's a couple of fights on that card right there. Green. I want to see what she does. The unification. There's a lot of belts, in fact, on that women's card. Yo, if you got nothing to do on Friday, man, on Netflix, it's free. It's free with your subscription. Okay. The Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor fight. There's a lot. Alicia Bumgard is on that fight, on that card. Yo, there are like the top women cards. All those fights are for belts. All those fights are for belts. Few unification, undisputeds here. Like it's ridiculous for as many belts as on that card. It's gonna be an interesting card. And that's going to take place on Friday in New York City. So, and Jake Paul, his MVP promotional, with Netflix. So this is a beautiful thing. It's a historical night for women in boxing too. By the way, I don't believe. I'm going to go out on a limb and say I think this is the best female boxing card I have ever heard of. I'm pretty. I think I might be right, and I'm taking a shot in the dark here, right? Not a huge, women boxing genius. As I cover this sport, I learn more about their sport every day. Okay, uh, but I can't remember anything like this. Not like this. No, no. I don't know if the 1940s they did it some shit or 50s or I, I I don't even think there was women boxing back then. They had no women champion, right? No. So like I I I think this is historical. This is gonna be one of the biggest female fights with this many belts. I don't think there's been a woman card like this, and it's all women too. Yeah. Well, let's see. Let's give it up. Let's give it a shout out and support for the ladies. The ladies have a big night in front of them. Uh, these ladies, they did training camps, bro. They ran, jogged, hit pads, mitts, sparred. You know what I'm saying? Went home smelling like a foot every night, just like we do. So I give the ladies credit, and I think actually some of those fights are going to be really, really entertaining, not just the top three, the bottom. Now, I know the top three are going to be good. Like I'm tuning in for that because I want to see Savannah Marshall. Yeah, well, look, the inactivity is what bothers me. What was it? 2 years? Is it 2 years? Was it 2 years? See, I got to do more homework on my women's stuff, but I know the top threes is gonna be bangers. And from what I'm learning now, as I get more familiar, the bottom three of the women cards look like they're gonna be bangers too. I don't know a lot about them down there, but I'm learning. I'm learning. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, that's on Friday. So that I'm gonna be heading out to New York either Friday or the morning of the fight, and then probably hopping back out here. I'm just doing a real, you know what I'm saying? A hit and run. You know what I mean? In and out. You know what I mean? So yeah. So I expect to see a lot of you guys there. If you guys are there, hit me up on Instagram, on social media, whatever. We can link up, you know. Matias is hungry and he looks, yo, listen, determined, yes. Focus, yes. But there's something different in his eyes in this fight. I always tell you guys, it's in a man's eyes. You know, sometimes a guy can have lying eyes. You know what I mean? But you have lying eyes. But no, um, his confidence. It's like everything is even, right? When you see his aura, not one thing is like off. Like in the last fight with Paro, right? His energy was off. His his physique, his weight cut, his how he was sunk, it was off. The way he was talking, his demeanor, his confidence, it was all off. Some of the things he was like high in, but his 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 energy wasn't right. It really wasn't. Then you see him after the fights and he fights these other guys and he's looking better but going through some shit. You could tell. You could tell. And he was winning his last fight, but he didn't want to keep beating the guy up cuz he actually felt for the other guy for once. His energy was off. He wasn't with himself. Had he been with, he's doing, he would only be focused on doing his job. But he wasn't. Now I see him talking, and he looks like across the board. He looks, I'm not gonna say at peace, because you can see that war inside of him fighting. You could see that killer that lurks behind his eye. You could see it. But it was real smooth, confident, assertive, laughter, comfortable. And he was poised. It's like, you see Naoya Inoue, right? He looks like a boy band dude. He's got like this cheeky grin, smirk. He's like, he does this, like that, right? But behind those eyes, there's a killer. That dude's a killer. Freaking ninja, right? And I see that in Subriel this time. No cap. I haven't seen that version of Subriel in quite some time. He looks, like I said, not at peace. He doesn't look at peace. No. He looks focused, driven, determined. It's like a fireball, all controlled, channeled, ready to explode. Just ready to kick some ass. You know, whether he wins, lose, draws, if he used to fall, I would know though he really was serious about this fight. This fight here in particular, it looks like Subriel Matias is locked in, focused. I don't know about you guys, right? Alberto Puello looked a little thin there. His little chin was like, little pointy ass chin. You know what I mean? Subriel's gonna knock that chin right in. He gonna put it in. He's gonna volley that chin on the tennis court. Love, right over the tennis. Boop! His chin is gonna scrape. It's gonna bounce. Subriel's gonna run around the tennis court and smack it back on the other side. Hey! You know what I mean? It's just gonna be Alberto Puello's chin going back and forth. All right? I mean, yo, I'm talking shit. You know what I mean? Let's get it. Yo, listen. But real talk, Alberto Puello, he looked good. He looked good. He looked a little thin, but that's Alberto Puello. That he always looks like that. Always looks like that, bro. So you can't read into that. Then Alberto Puello also looks very confident. He looked very confident. He was talking good. He looked like he was a little weak. Maybe like the weight cut was a little bit, just right there. But that's expected. That's expected for a man his size and he got wide shoulders. Alberto Puello, he got wide shoulders. He got a big frame. He has a big frame to fill in. So he's cutting some good amount of weight. So that's expected. I'm not going to take him being a little weight drained from being fragile. Although it gave me the impression, you're looking a little fragile there, my man. You know what I mean? Just like Sheeraz. He looked a little fragile against Berlanga, but Berlanga looked a lot skinnier in this fight than he did in the Saul fight. All right? Okay. So I was looking at Alberto Puello and I'm saying to myself, yeah, you can't read too much into that. He looks good. Alberto Puello looks good. Yeah, he does. You got to be honest. If you're going to tell the truth, you got to tell the truth about both sides. You know, although, you know, I'm going to throw shots. I'm going to say jokes and shit. Yeah, of course. But I'm also going to keep it real. Yeah. Fuck. Alberto Puello look good, bro. He looks locked in. Laser focus. He's got that championship mentality. Whenever the champion walks around with his belt, I like that. You ever see the champion? They don't even carry their belts no more. They don't, man, listen. He had making sure the world knew, look who the champion is. And I'm a stay champion. Alberto Puello's looking to make his own legacy, write his own name. You know what I'm saying? Y'all motherfuckers were scared to fight Subriel. I called them out. All you, every one of you that talk shit. Oh, yeah, I'll fight him. Ain't none of y'all fight him. Look, I called them out one time. One time, we're on the card. All of you are a bunch of fucking liars. All of you, none of you, even you, T.O. Stop hiding behind the fucking popcorn machine, T.O. All right? You know what I mean? Because he's back there hiding. Because they're all scared of Subriel. The fact that people try to come out and say, oh, Alberto Puello is scared of Subriel because he put a rematch clause in. Just stop talking to those people, please. Just walk away. Walk away. Anybody that's a world champion that gives you a voluntary shot, you should have a mandatory because you're getting a voluntary shot. You never deserve to be here. If you happen to beat me on some bullshit, we got to run this shit back. You feel me? Now, if you were a mandatory, there might not be no rematch clause. You get one shot. You lose the belt, just like Subriel. Liam Powell was his mandatory, right? No, Richard Hitchison was the mandatory at the time. He could have put in if he fell asleep behind the wheel. Damn, Subriel. Fuck. When I'm thinking back then, Richard Hitchison was his mandatory. He had won that IBF eliminator, if my memory serves me correctly. And he picked Liam Powell. Oh, your management should have put that shit in, bro. But how the fuck are you going to say that I'm scared of you or scared of losing if what I'm saying is I want to fight you not once but twice? But I'm scared of you. Just in case anything goes left, what the rematch says is, I believe if you beat me by luck. Because if we fight 2 times, I'm going to win one of those fights. How could you take him putting a rematch clause for a belt as a sign of being scared? Where does that spell scared for you? If I want to fight you, if you beat me, I'm saying I will fight you back to back. If somebody was scared of you, he wouldn't come out the house. You tell somebody come outside and he don't come outside, he's scared of you. But if he comes outside, you whoop his ass, he goes inside, wipes his face, and comes back outside and says, let's go. How the fuck is that guy scared of you? And where does that spell fear? I think that's just people reaching. You know why? Because you guys are scared. You guys are scared. So Matias is going to get his ass kicked. So you got to make up things to hype yourself up. Oh, look. He put a rematch claw. That means he's scared. Hype yourself up all you want. But in reality, that's not what that says. All that says is, I'm telling you that this is a tough fight. You might beat me, but I don't think you're going to beat me twice. And if I beat you first, you don't get the rematch. It's like the home field on a baseball game. You know what I'm saying? They fuck around, hit a home run. The game's not over. Now we get a chance to bat. But if we hit 2 home runs, guess what? Walk off, game's over. The major league gives you an opportunity to keep the innings going. Just like in a boxing, we're going to extra innings if you beat me once, because I'm fighting you again. Oh shit, we got the donation, my man. Oh, that's my man came on the other day. How you doing? What's up, my guy? It's almost we get it, baby. Estamos cortitos ahí. You know what I mean? I hope I see you at the fight, Antonio. Muchacho, vamos a una cerveza o algo. And I don't even drink beer, bro. I don't even drink beer. But when I'm out, I want to have a good time with my guys, my peoples. I wouldn't mind it. Matias needs to be in there in the pocket with his hands up all night long. In and out, throwing those. Listen, of course, that's Matias' game plan. You don't gotta change Matias. You don't gotta change him. All you gotta do is unleash him. Get him properly trained. Don't try to change Subriel Matias. You're not. He's set in his ways. Make him a bit sharper. Make him a bit sharper, and unleash him. That's all you gotta do. So, you know what I mean? What else you have to say? That yeah, throwing them, chopping powerful shots everywhere, up and down and up, make that shit feel like nightmare. Yeah, just keep pounding them. You know what I mean? You know, cutting off. Well, I can't see it that small. Hold on, my eyes are bad. Cutting off that. Yeah, listen, the ring 20 by 20. Is it? That's what that's the last thing I heard. Then I heard about Turkey Al-Sheikh doing this. I don't know how true this is, guys. I got to look into it. Don't hold me to this. But some AI fucking ring that gets smaller. If they feel like the action isn't, the ring is going to adjust smaller so that the fighters are forced to engage. Look, just like I'm telling you, I'm like, what? What are you gonna do next time they ain't fighting to your liking? The fucking floor's gonna open up, and it's just gonna be a pit of knives and the bottom, and a fucking lion running out the side of the rings, fire up. Are they not entertained? They got they. Oh shit! Shakur, wait! He took one step backwards. Lower the ring 5 feet. Let's go. Who's in charge of? Who got the button, the clicky? Who, you know what I'm saying, for the ring? Who's in charge of that? Who deems that? Like, I don't know about that shit, bro. I don't even know if it's true. I think it's cap. If it is true, I haven't had time to follow that turkey shit. I've been, summertime. I want to get out there with my daughter and shit too, and a lot of housework going on, and this, that, and my working out. So I got a lot of shit going on to be following these stories. But if you guys know more about that, let me know. If that's real, is that real what they're saying? I was just like, what the fuck is where are we going in boxing? Like, I was just like, you know, Paro isn't. I mean, Alberto Puello isn't taking Matias lightly. Hell no. How could you take the man lightly when you called him out? Matias is not calling you out, or they forced you to fight Matias. Matias was in the IBF ranking, minding his own business, waiting in line in first place, waiting a shot at that belt, when all of a sudden the boxing gods dropped a gift on his lap, or so it seems like a gift. Oh! I, Alberto Puello, challenge you, Subriel Matias. Come outside and come kick these hands. And Subriel Matias was like, I must be dreaming. Nobody calls me out. Is this a dream? Right? And Alberto Puello is out. Alberto Puello is like, get your punk ass up. You're not dreaming. And let's go outside. I'm going to whoop your ass. Right? So it was like fucking Christmas. Or was it? Is he setting him up? We're going to find out, right? So I found it real interesting that Alberto Puello called him out, bro. Real talk. All jokes aside, like I was like, oh shit. You know, when's the last time we saw that? Somebody like, yeah, last time we saw a man act like he ran with his tail between his legs, Teofimo Lopez. They couldn't give that man enough money to fight Subriel. $4 million they offered him. 4 times the most money Teofimo Lopez would have ever made up until that point. And then he just fought on the New York fight and made, I heard, a good coin, right? But before that, he was offered to fight Subriel, and he didn't want that. Tio talks a lot of trash, but I'll beat, Pómelo Boricua enfrente que I'll beat them. They're easy. Oh, yeah? I would like to see that. I would like to see that, Tio. I really want to see it, you know? And I think Tio's a hell of a fighter. Hell of a fighter. He's a pretty decent fighter in his own right. Just because of his antics and his mouth, I want to see if he can back up what his mouth is saying. That's all. As a fighting fan, okay, prove it. You know, and we wanted him to fight one of our top Puerto Rican fighters, not one of the low ones where you can go in there and beat him. See, I told you. Nah, you ain't getting it like that. Beat our best, fight your best. Like what Alberto Puello is doing, he's one of Dominica's best right now, Alberto Puello. If not the best they got. Arguably, Carlos Adames, you know, they're like right there. But Alberto Puello is coming up on more title defenses. So technically, he is Santo Domingo's best fighter, best champion, Alberto Puello. Yeah, come to think about it, how many times did Carlos Adames defend that belt? He didn't even get a title defense with Cherie. It didn't count. It was a draw. You can't give him that, right? So at the 160, how many times did he defend his belt? Carlos Adames. All right. Here's his record, right? He can't get credit for that interim. He can't get credit for the interim. He had the interim middleweight, right? He won it. Then I guess he defended against Williams, right? Right? But then he got full status in his next fight. And then the Hamzah fight fucks him up. He doesn't get credit for that fight. So he's only going to get one fight. Yeah, Alberto Puello is clearly Santo Domingo's best champion. Not by weight class, because of course, okay, Carlos Adames does fight in a heavier weight division. So by standard, he's their biggest Dominican champion. Okay, I can see it like that. Okay, Carlos Adames is the biggest one. All right, fine. But more accomplished wise, Alberto Puello is the best Dominican champion they have. So they're actually fighting their best against arguably our best in their division. Sabrina Matias might not be a champion, but I think he is the number one Puerto Rican fighter in that weight division. And if he can hold that title right there, which I'm pretty sure he is, right? Then it would be our best fighting their best. That's how you break that shit down, bro. Sabrina is a former world champion too. So it all spells our best versus their best. Yes. That's how you break that down. Even though, Adamas, yeah, he's the champion, okay, yeah, but it's their country's best against our country's best in that weight division. Yep. Yep. And you know what adds for a lot of excitement? We were talking about this the other day on my show, right? If Alberto Puello was to fall, there is a rematch, right? He takes the rematch and you get as many Dominican fighters as you can and try to pair them up with either Puerto Rican fighters or I'll take Mexican fighters, but make it a Latin card and try to get some of the top Latin prospect. We don't have to match in nationality. It doesn't have to just straight up be Puerto Rican, Dominican. Don't think that way. No, the Dominicans and the Puerto Ricans can help other Latin guys in other countries also get noticed. We're all Latin descents, right? So let's help out our fellow Latin brothers, right? So we can put Mexican dudes on there. We can put all Latin countries, all the way down, Cuba, Colombia, whatever, right? And but the top guys, they have to be either the top prospects or top champions fighting another guy for, you know what I mean? We want to make it entertaining. And we want to bring out the best so that the world sees Latin fighters, again, and we remind the world how explosive we are and that we can produce knockouts and that we have great fighters. You know what I'm saying? Like that, and then London and the UK, they're always putting cards like that. The Brit, the Scottish, they're always having cards like that. All them islands on that side, and they trying to show the world that Ireland, the UK, the Brits, Scotland, that they're all their fighters, and they're constantly doing that. That's why I want our Latin community and our Latin fighters to do the same. There's a lot of times that the US carries the night. You see a lot of Black Americans, a lot of US guys from different, but they were born in America, so their flag is the US. You see the US putting on US cards and bringing up their top talent. It happens all the time. And that's why I want to bring, maybe, bro, this could be a start in, and not only do we see ourselves as competing for our countries, but we need to recognize ourselves as a Latin race. If we have the same tongue or a similar dialect, there's not a lot of us anyway. And I think we need to come together to show unity. There's not a lot of Puerto Rican fighters, bro. There's not a lot of Dominican fighters. No, there's not. And even fewer that are great. They might be enough, but not on that level. You see what I'm saying? We got to une up to the UK, the Brits. They got big squads. They got fighters for days. Like our number is not that big. So, respectfully so, that's why I was taught from a young man in my family's living room that even if a Puerto Rican guy wasn't fighting, if he was Latin descent, we would cheer for him because we like I said, Latin people or those. I don't know if we're wired like that. We're just built like that, but we like to show our other Latin races and everything and love. You know what I'm saying? There's been I can't tell you how many Dominicans scurried across to Puerto Rico to get on a plane to go to the US and how many Puerto Ricans took them in or if you wrong it ran into the wrong Puerto Ricans that they, those there's bad Puerto Ricans too that don't like them. There's been a little conflict between the two and throughout the years, you always get that wave. One day they're mad at each other, one day they're cool, one day they're not. But I believe we need to start to get along, you know, because we can benefit from each other. We could definitely benefit from each other, and it's the plate is big enough. This boxing world, the money, everything. Jealousy is something that you want to put a label because he what doesn't have the same name you have, the same skin color, the same race name. Nah, a man is a man. You know what I mean? And I believe that's how we should treat each other. So but fight fans, listen, I just wanted to come on actually and just kick it, keep the conversation about this fight alive. I know I wasn't gonna drop the live stream today. I'm a little fatigued, tired and stuff, working out and stuff and doing a lot of things. But I just wanted to keep this alive and thank you for everybody for tuning in, everybody for giving your comments. Yeah, amen, brother. And I just think that we need to really support our guys, all our guys. So I'm going out to New York City. Please follow me, hit the like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and let's support Latin boxing and all of boxing too. All right, let's keep boxing alive, guys. Love yourselves. I'm on to the next one after this one here at Round One Sports Talk.